welcome. This is Akai coming to you with another one. And guys, I'm excited about this video because when I was coming up, guess what one of the shows that I was watching on a regular basis? The Brady Bunch. Okay? If you're in my age range, you were watching the Brady Bunch. You may be even younger than me, and you were watching the Brady Bunch. Now I don't know the reason why you liked it, but one thing that I liked about it is that it was always positive. There may be a lesson that needed to be learned, but it was always positive. And the thing is that it showed that they loved each other. They knew how to work together. Okay? They weren't sitting up there judging each other, and there wasn't behavioral issues there. And the biggest thing is they wanted to be a family. That's the thing about it. Now we're talking about mixed and blended families and the pros and cons of this today. And the main example that I was able to come up with was the Brady Bunch. And it showed America the positive view of mixed and blended families. Okay. And yes, this is my opinion, but it's also what I observed when I was much younger when I was watching this show. Now, I want some of you people that, whether you're in your 30s, your 40s, or 50s, whether 60s or 70s, whatever, if you watch the Brady Bunch, please put that in the comment section. Don't be shy. I notice that some of you are shy and you'll give a like or whatever, but you don't comment. Okay, don't be shy. Nobody's going to come after you if you put a comment in the comment section, because I want to know what you're thinking and what you're feeling and your opinion, the way you look at things. It is not just about the way I describe it. Okay, blended families can be good experiences. You can have it's not just negative experiences. There are positive experiences that you can have with a blended family, such as, let's say you're a man and you don't have any children, or all of your children are grown, and then you met a younger woman and you two got together, okay, and you really don't have children like that, but instead of it being a negative experience, you're actually producing a positive impact upon that little boy or that little girl. It gives you an opportunity to be a part of the family, to build a family, be a part of that said family, and to actually enhance the dynamics of that said family. So when you're looking at stuff, you kind of have to have a black and white view at it. Say, okay, well, let me look at the positive. Now let me look at the negative. Let me look at the negative, and it's like, now let me look at the positive. Okay, you don't want it to be one-sided. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And I noticed on the Brady Bunch that they did have certain challenges, but it was very light because in their minds and in their hearts, they were the actors that portrayed those families coming together. They knew that they had to make it look like, hey, this is working out. This is what a family it is. Even though it wasn't a traditional family of mom, dad, and children, they were able to make it that way, even though both sides of children, the mother's children and the father's children, the mother's children came from another man. The father's children came from another woman, but they decided to come together and say, we're going to be family. So that was a positive thing. I think I like that. I don't know, what do you think? If people can come together as a family, what do you think about that? I think that's a wonderful thing. And it's great for the kids, the children, and everybody else, even the parents involved. Okay, but there are challenges. Why blended families can be challenging. Number one, the culture has a lot to do with it. Because if they come into your house or you go into their house, there's going to be let me defend my home. This strange person is coming in here. So what I recommend is that the mother and the father that come together, they buy a home together, because then the kids can't say, if you got a bunch of teenage kids with a big mouth talking about, oh, you moved into their house. Well, yeah, that is their house, and they have their culture and rules and stuff like that in their house. Or the woman moving into the man's house and he got children, and they're looking at it from a certain point of view. So you have to look at it like that, you know. But what about the man and the woman, the husband and wife, getting together and saying, well, we just going, because we both have kids, you know, so this is a blended family. Why don't we start fresh with a new house where neither side can say, this is my house. We have to admit that it's our home. I think that's a great idea. I think that will cut away at the fat on the meat. That's the way I look at it. I believe that that's a better viewpoint. Okay. Now, respect is necessary or it won't work. In other words, if the children won't respect the stepmother, or the children won't respect the stepfather, it's going to be a problem. The marriage is not going to last. The relationship is not going to last, because the children are actually destroying it. And it's up to their particular parent to step in and to manage that, to let them know what she's not going to tolerate. Or vice versa, the man letting his children know what he's not going to tolerate, saying, hey, I know that's not your mother, but that is your stepmother, and that's my wife, and you're going to respect my wife. You see what I'm saying? In other words, don't allow them to produce mayhem and trouble in your house. Remember, your home is your sanctuary, and your home is also where you lay your head. So you can't allow chaos to break out in your house, all because of some opinions about why families are coming together. Okay? Right, so respect is definitely necessary. Do the children have relationships with their natural parent? So in other words, if it's a man that has children, do the children that he has, do they have relationship with their mother? That's important, because sometimes you can get natural mom on board where she realizes that this is a good situation. Sometimes she can be a hater. I'm just keeping it real. You got parents that hate on the situation. It's not always the children. Sometimes the children are okay, but then it be the biological mother that doesn't like what the biological father is doing with his life, which is none of her business. Okay, unless it's, you know, if it's not going to harm the children, then she should be like, oh, okay, he's doing things the right way and he's getting married. He's not just shacking up with somebody and having my children with an unknown. You know, the same thing with the man. You know, that respect has to be there, and he can't be there causing chaos. So the wife, the mother of the children, has to step in so that the stepfather doesn't have to. You know, these are certain dynamics that you have to assess and analyze prior to getting into a blended family. You know, getting into a blended family is a very, 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 very important thing. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to briefly talk about my experience with blended families. I got married a couple of times. I ain't just do it once. See, I'm being transparent. You know, I decided, well, let me do it again. Okay, and that didn't work out either. Both scenarios were blended families. What I noticed, that the child in the first marriage, which is when I had my daughter, you know, my ex-wife, she already had a child. She had a little boy, but me and the little boy got along great. He didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem. Everything was great. My family accepted the little boy. Everything was great. But the woman, his mother, my ex-wife, kept having a problem, thinking that things weren't going to be right because she had some insecurities, you know. And I'm different. I'm not going to sit up there and talk about my ex-wife, which is my daughter's mother. I'm not that type of man. So I'm letting y'all know that right now. I'm not that type of man whatsoever. I have better character than that, because at the end of the day, I have to respect her for being the mother of my daughter. And my daughter is going on 27. Our daughter, rather. We're just not together. Okay? But that was a blended family situation because she already had a son, but it wasn't me and the son that was causing the problem. It was actually her. Now, the other situation where I got married, that woman had 3 teenage children, and the middle child dropped a baby on us. And that middle child was the one that I did not get along with. She'd get up in your face and all that. So that one was kind of challenging. I'm not gonna front. That was challenging. I hated the situation because I realized that I didn't really think appropriately about the situation and just got focused on the way that she looked. She was 8 years my senior, 8 years older than me, and had 3 teenage children. There was no way that I was supposed to put myself in that situation, and even my uncle, he's deceased now. He sat downstairs in my house and he said, "Don't do it. Don't do it." He wanted to make sure that he said that, but I didn't listen to him. So I went through what I went through, and then I got out of that marriage. And like I said, so I've been divorced for years. Do I regret being in a blended family situation? No. What I regret is being in the blended family situations that I was in because I made poor choices. So that's what I'm looking at. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Like I said, you have pros and cons to blended families, and some people just say they're not gonna do it. Now, would I do a blended family now? No, I wouldn't do that. Why? Because I got a grown daughter that doesn't live in a house with me, and I don't have any other children. So it's like I don't have children. So I would rather have a woman that doesn't have children. That might be younger than me, but she don't have children. Maybe she wants to have a child, but she don't have to worry about other children and stuff like that. So it's all about you and what's gonna make you feel more comfortable. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Don't be shy, guys. No, it's more of a badge of honor. Give yourself some honor and put a comment in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. And that's it. But that's it for today. I want you to have a grand rising, a super day, a super week, okay, that's coming up. I want you to do that. And that's all. So Akai out, and until next time, guys. Until next time, Akai out.